You know what time it is? It's time to unveil the Four Horsemen, the Quattro Horsemen for 2024. We've got the four best friends that anybody could have. This is going to be a little different this year because I don't want to pin it down to one player being Horseman number one. And one player, I mean, we kind of did have that kind of scenario. Remember the Four Horsemen video last year? Breece Hall in round 3, which was an absolute smash, I might say. Jahmyr Gibbs in round 3. Remember that? Jahmyr Gibbs in round 3. We had the Four Horsemen. Bijan. We're going to have a similar approach to it this year, but more of a strategy instead of player type of Four Horsemen unveiling. That's coming in a second. You're looking at some of the names and faces in the Four Horsemen consideration, right? We've got all this news on screen, some of it old, some of it new. We're going to break it all down. Ben sent it to the moon. If you missed that episode earlier, we'll touch on that a little bit. And the Fantasy Football Show, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. edition Eastern, every Monday through Friday. That show, young man, it starts right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Welcome to the show. This headline here could probably be updated to let's change it to what? Tua holding out and more trouble in KC. Let's change the headline to that. We've got a lot of news to go over. The Four Horsemen to go over. The Four Horsemen will be unveiled after we do the news segment here. And what's the Four Horsemen? Smitty, I don't understand. You've got these moon men, these horsemen. What is going on over here? My wife thinks I'm watching the Animal Planet every time she hears your show playing in the Discovery Channel. It's like going to space, Saturn, horsemen. Just don't worry about that. Okay. Let's get into the news. TJ Hawkinson, this is kind of expected at this point. Guy's still recovering from a torn ACL. And whenever you hear very pessimistic type of reporting and not like, oh, going to be fine, going to be ready for week 1, everything's good to go, you have to start preparing for the worst, right? And he's probably going to be out for the beginning part of the year. And this is not like, I would say, I'm not trying to suggest he's not an amazing athlete. All players in the NFL are amazing athletes, but this is not like a Saquon Barkley with quads that support ACL recoveries different than a big man. You know, a big man that's got to go out there and try and gain the muscle structure back. The atrophy's huge in ACLs in terms of the calf and the quad. And if you don't get the muscle parts back in motion and you don't get both legs the same size, I still to this day, my calf, you put my calves slightly next to each other, you can kind of tell that my ACL torn leg is still not as strong. It's very hard to tell, but for a good year or two, there was a big size difference. And same thing with Achilles tears. And when you don't have that exact same muscle structure, and it's so hard because you're off that leg, so that leg gets skinny, the atrophy's real, you have compensation injuries. So if he rushes it and gets out there when he's not ready, he will get injured. He'll have a compensation injury, hamstring or Achilles tear or tear the other ACL. This is very, very common for people rushing back from an ACL tear. He's clearly, he says he's in a good place, all that, but there's no timeline on it. It's not like you can expect him to be ready to go at the jump, is what I'm trying to say. Not to mention, he's got to build rapport with his quarterback. I don't know that Hawkinson's on my radar when I can get a whole bunch of other talent at the Hawkinson pick and then grab our boy Ben Sinnott, who's on the Moon Man list.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Look at him. Look at Ben Sinnott doing it live.
Mashed potatoes.
Look at him doing it live. Doing it live. Go to Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, by the way. Underdog Fantasy, enter code Smitty, do it live. By the way, I'm going to have a bag full of these to give away in Vegas. I want as many of you to show up in Vegas at Circle Hotel and Casino to hang out with me, to be with me for 2 straight days. June 28 and June 29, I'll be in Vegas, and I need you there. Okay, where were we? KC, man, what is going on in there? What is going on back there in KC? Look at what's going on. Now we've got offensive tackles Morris and Godric arrested Thursday, charged with marijuana possession. I'm not trying to judge the crime here, okay? So people are going to come out and say blah, blah, blah for what? But whatever the case may be, they obviously were doing something they should have done at that moment in time where, I don't know the details really. This kind of just came out less than an hour ago. But released on bond, Casey can't get out of trouble. They can't stay out of trouble. What is going on here? What is going on here? It doesn't matter, though, because Casey can win. When the NFL plans a schedule around Taylor Swift's Eras tour, then, or whatever tour she's going to be on, then you know that it's all going to be okay. the script is struck again. Taylor Swift's schedule, the NFL schedule is already out, ladies and gentlemen.
The script strikes again.
You look at Taylor Swift's schedule, and like when she's in Canada, the Chiefs are playing Buffalo. It's like she can just, wherever she's at, that's where the Chiefs are playing. It's like, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. The NFL is all about money. It's wild. Tua Tagovailoa is holding out from what we hear, right? Tua has missed most of the voluntary offseason workouts since April 15, likely related to his contract status, and holdout Tua is due for a contract and could eclipse the deal that Jared Goff just received. This is wild because we still don't know if this man is capable of playing a long season in the NFL. And you could say he was fine. He didn't suffer any sort of injury last year, Smitty. Maybe the concussions are behind him. Maybe. We don't know. Concussions are an unknown situation. Anybody tells you they know everything about concussions, or they can tell you that a player will have one or not have one ever again, they don't know what they're talking about. And a concussion expert will tell you the only thing you can go on is that the likelihood of having another concussion goes up every time you have one. So you're more susceptible. But there are cases in, like, Brandon Cooks, where he had a lot of concussions and he kept having them. And then he's never had another really concussion that we know about, unless he's not reporting them so he can stay on the field. But that's an assumption, right? That's a total, almost reckless guess. But I'm just saying, like, Cooks went at, was a total risk factor, and then he vanished from that. I don't know. I'm not sure. All I know is that this team should have at least brought in Justin Fields. This is probably the team that needed him most to make sure they protected their quarterback situation. Miami's got a really good squad. They're capable of being a top 8 to 10 team in the National Football League walking into the playoffs. And if they have any sort of problem with Tua, even if it's accuracy related or folding related or whatever, because he feels a little bit of Dak Prescott. What's up, Travis? Travis in the house. Prayers up for Travis, who broke his kneecap. So he's been a little bit on the mend. So drop an eggplant, fire emoji, prayer emoji, whatever you think expresses your gratitude to Travis. Drop that in the chat, please. I don't know what to say on this other than if he gets Goff's money, I don't know what Purdy's going to get. I'm not saying Purdy's not better than Tua. He is. But these guys are going to eclipse such a high number that when push comes to shove for quarterbacks in 2025, who the hell knows what Purdy's number is going to be if this guy ends up getting a higher number than Goff. And this is where the Niner way is going to be very interesting to watch play out next offseason. If they're like, we're going to wait until June to sign Brock Purdy, I'm gonna lose it. I'm going to lose it. They're literally going to lose billions upon trillions of dollars by waiting. This is crazy. This Niner way of waiting is insane. This is ridiculous. Look, I like Sam Acho. I did a show with Sam Acho, an Arizona Cardinals show, many years ago, probably like 7 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. I did an Arizona Cardinals show on I think it was NBC. It was NBC, ABC or NBC. And I did a show with him, and it was all Cardinal related. Had different Cardinal guests on at the end of, on Sundays after Cardinal games, etc. And he's a really good dude. Sam Acho I like a lot. Emmanuel Acho, his brother, is wild, man. He makes some of the worst predictions and calls I've ever seen. Emmanuel Acho, sorry, Sam, but your brother's wildin', bro. He ain't anywhere near your level of expertise and talent evaluation. Hurts is not an elite quarterback, Emmanuel Acho says. Jalen Hurts is good enough to get you there. He's not good enough to win it, which is so wild. And he's going to look like such a fool at the end of the day. Especially, like, even just saying he's not elite is just a stupid comment. Like, show us you don't know anything about football, truly. Maybe you played it, but you don't know it. You don't know how to scout or analyze anything. If you're literally saying, you could say he doesn't know how to win it, and then end it there, and I'll be like, hey, I disagree with Emmanuel Acho. Him and I don't see eye to eye on that topic. But to literally attach to that kind of reckless statement that Hurts is not an elite quarterback, you clearly are showing that you don't have a single clue about, once you left the game, you know what you're talking about. I'm sorry, but this is one of the worst takes I've ever seen. Sam, you got to get your brother under control. This right here, Josh Allen is projected to have the hardest schedule for QBs in fantasy football 2024. It's an interesting note. He is a different and unique quarterback. He runs a lot of these projected schedules, and I'm going to have my QB schedule of my own, which I imagine they're going to be in the top 10. But I venture to say that he will probably be more so, like, if I had to guess, I haven't looked at my specific strength of schedule for quarterbacks. It will be different because it accounts for running. It accounts for other aspects that should be accounted for, and people don't throw it in their strength of schedule. And they use either win percentages or passing yards only or whatever. I'm going to have rushing touchdowns, average against the run, yards per carry against the run, rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, passing yards, passing touchdowns, interceptions. All that will be included in my strength of schedule, among a couple other things to give it a little bit of spice and flavor. And I venture to say that this number one schedule probably is outside the top 5 in strongest schedules, given that running aspect. So the reason I brought this up is to say I wouldn't really concern yourself with that yet. Wait for my strength of schedule to come out. This right here, Bears QB since 2001, 468 passing touchdowns, 393 interceptions, 934 sacks, 6.1 yards per attempt. And Caleb was born the year that this is being, mapped out, saying that they've never had success at the quarterback position since Caleb was born. So is Caleb going to turn all of this around? It's a very interesting way to map it out. Najee Harris has been pulling the old Aaron Jones, if you will. If you remember back when Aaron Jones was still at injury risk, he hadn't yet broken out. Your boy Smitty had him on the top 5 bold predictions, top 4 or 5. And he ended up having a top 5 running back season. It was one of the bigger lands that year for the channel. Aaron Jones to explode and break out. I think that was the first year I did the YouTube channel, believe it or not. Aaron Jones, big breakout candidate for the show. Absolutely loved him that year. He's very, very questionable. He kind of was like Zamir White this year. That's how Aaron Jones felt or that year he broke out. No one knew what to make of it. No one knew if he was going to be able to stay healthy. And he went on this bender in a good way of getting himself in a routine, weight loss, eating right, just getting ripped and shredded. And he gained muscle and mass. And I remember I came out and said, look, this guy can't stay healthy thin. So let's go the route of putting on the weight to stay healthy, because it's not always an easy blanket statement. You put on weight, you could get injured. You take weight off, you could get injured. Like Lamar, the debate about Lamar playing at 205 this year. There's more to it than just, oh, you gain weight. That guy gained weight, so he got hurt, so that's bad. Or that guy lost weight, he got hurt, it's bad. It's case by case, and it also does kind of factor in how young you are. And so they're not saying much about gaining weight here or anything like that. But in the case of like Achane gaining weight, not a big deal because he's still very young. He's still growing. Like he probably stopped growing about a year and a half ago. So you can't even say that's his skin. This is what he plays at. Najee, he's still younger, like not an old man, not necessarily a spring chicken anymore. So I will wonder what weight he's playing at. But changing his diet, it worked for Aaron Jones to stay healthy. And he's reportedly trying to lose some weight, but we don't know how much. Like is it 5 pounds, 2 pounds, 10 pounds? Is he trying to play at 15 less or something like that? We'll find out. That weight will be something we monitor. We look at how much it is. Will he get hurt being smaller? But we'll check into that. But changing his routine, trying to stay healthy. There are rumblings. Even Ron mentioned it the other night that out of Pittsburgh that this guy could potentially, Ziggy, show me the front door, could potentially be trying to get a long-term deal, and the Pittsburgh Steelers could potentially give him a long-term extension. Ziggy off, which is fantastic news. Fantastic news because if we know he's getting this long-term extension and he is the long-term starter in Pittsburgh, we can prepare and draft around that from a fantasy perspective. I think Jaylen Warren's the better running back. I'm also not putting it past Arthur Smith to have this guy get extended by the team, right? Arthur Smith's not extending him. The team is, and Arthur Smith starts to misuse him. But kind of feel like Tomlin would step in. I think Tomlin's going to make more decisions about get Najee in there, keep Najee in there. I don't think Arthur Smith's going to be able to just say, I'm going to misuse Najee all year long. I don't think that's going to necessarily fly. So we'll find out if he gets extended and what this means in terms of his weight loss and all that. Tua, just mentioned the Tua part. Unclear if Tua will participate in voluntary OTAs at all. We'll find out more on that to come. And that is the news right now, ladies and gentlemen. We have one super chat. All super chats will get immediate attention. Alan dropped a super chat and said, get well soon, Travis. Smitty is a good man. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. $10 haulers get moonshots.
To the moon.
So to the moon. Without further ado, Code Smitty, Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty will be drafting tonight. They'll match up to 50%. They'll match 50% on your first deposit up to $250, okay? So up to $250. So that means you deposit $500, they'll give you $250. You deposit $700, they'll still only give you $250. It's a max up to $250. But if you do the minimum $10, they'll give you $5. We'll be drafting tonight on Underdog Fantasy. So do that. Without further ado, I give you the 2024 Four Horsemen. Here they are. You're looking at a quite an intriguing proposition, and I'm going to have different versions. This is the wide receiver version. The running back version, which I haven't completed yet, is going to have a start of it that's going to have Bijan, Hall, or Gibbs in this number 1 overall round draft slot. This one's a wide receiver driven Four Horsemen. So whether you're taking whichever top 5 wide receiver you snag, whether it's Jamar Chase, whether it's Lamb Chops, whether it's JJ or Tyreek Hill, etc., you are going to deploy the Kyren or Achane second round selection. And if Achane falls to third round territory, you can bet your bottom dollar we'll scoot him over here. And because Mahomes and Hurts can sometimes go in 4, you could even maybe scoot those guys down. And bro, you come away with the Jamar Chase, Kyren, Achane, and Hurts, or Jamar Chase, Kyren, Achane, and Mahomes. You're talking about a Four Horsemen that I couldn't dream of. But right now, just take your pick and look at this crew, and you leave it to your imagination which player you're taking in each bucket in each round. And for me, I can obviously draft Mahomes in 4. I can obviously draft those guys in 4. In fact, Mahomes oftentimes goes in 4. So really, I'll probably drag Mahomie over to this 4th round territory at some point. Let me even do that now, because he's sometimes a 5th rounder. So if Mahomes is here, then that means we got to adapt and adjust and put somebody else here. So I haven't cooked up everything yet. This is the current inner workings of the beginning of this launch. But, obviously we need an alternate couple players here that are non-QBs if Mahomes is going to move into that round 4, which he very, very, very much will be easily had in round 4. But I'm not afraid to take that quarterback no matter what, especially if you're in a non-best ball. The reason Mahomes is over here to begin with is because in your mom and pop draft, Mahomes probably won't go in round 4. So this is kind of why I constructed it this way, because best ball, you'll probably get him there and we'll reference that. But maybe I do end up leaving it this way just because I don't think a lot of you will in your mom and pop drafts and your non-best ball drafts be able to acquire these 3 quarterbacks in round 4 or 5 because people are just drafting different in those. But pick your poison here. Josh Jacobs, he goes in the 3rd round a lot of the time, but I've seen him going around 4 a lot. McBride, Kelsey, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Smith, pick your poison. I could win any league drafting from these buckets of players in the Four Horsemen bucket, and I think you can too. We'll do more on this throughout the season. My running back version will be dropping probably tomorrow or the next day. We'll reference this throughout the year. The running back version will be something similar to, like I said, Hall, Gibbs, Bijan, and then in this territory here, probably going to go Kyren or Achane again. So it's going to be a running back version is essentially what it will be. And then over here is where we're taking our Devontae Smith and Mahomes, or Mahomes and Devontae Smith, or Hurts and Devontae Smith. If you could walk away with Bijan, Kyren, Hurts, and Devontae Smith, I'm fine with that void at wide receiver too that you're probably going to have, because you can compile a plethora of like Worthy and Hollywood Brown to stack with your Mahomes, still get a JSN, still get a Keon Coleman, still maybe get even a player. Like I've seen Cooper Kupp fall to round 5. He goes in round 4 more often than not, but I've seen people absolutely avoid him in crazy fashion. Your 5th round wide receiver might actually be very similar to Devontae Smith, and you might have 2 Devontae Smiths with Hurts, with Kyren, with Bijan. So the running back one will be absolutely phenomenal. But drop your favorite combination. What is your one lineup you would create with the Four Horsemen wide receiver version? Drop it in the live chat, and I'll drag your answers on screen. Mine would probably be, since this is my board, I'll give you my top pick. I'd say the wide receiver doesn't matter. Those are all stud wide receivers. But let me just say Jamar Chase, Kyren Williams, Jalen Hurts. Get on that's me and my horse. Four Horsemen. Jamar Chase, Kyren Williams, Jalen Hurts, and it's either Mahomes and Kelsey or Kelsey Mahomes, because you might have to draft them differently, or I'm going to go Hurts and Devontae Smith, or Hurts and McBride. But really, it is hard to pick. It really is hard to pick. It's so hard to pick. Drop your favorite Four Horsemen in the chat, and in the meantime, the phone lines are open. So dial into the attic.shop phone line.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Brought to you by the attic.shop, formerly known as Grindhouse. Get your the attic.shop apparel, movie tees and hoodies from over 40 years ago. King Kong, Godzilla. Dial in to the phone line, ladies and gentlemen. Do it, and do it live. Four Horsemen, do it live. Chase, Kyren, Allen, and Kelsey. I love that one. They're all so good. It's like, tell me why you do anything else if you had a early to top 6 round pick, or top 6 overall pick with the wide receivers. I don't mind doing the Bijan version. You're gonna love the Bijan version, but like, you can win a league doing this. There's just no argument. This is the greatest way to look at it. Can you turn down myself screaming in the background, Bob? I'm too loud. Alan says Chase. Yeah, hit me with what's going on, pal? You're live.
Oh yeah, mate. I don't want to go off topic, but first of all, can you pay for my trip to Vegas, because I'm started your international fan club in New Zealand.
Probably not. But thanks, Bob.
Okay.
I appreciate you asking.
Question. Okay, next question is I've just got a couple of pitching things about the NFL, but I think you're open-minded, right? Can I just mention them or? Yeah?
Go ahead.
Okay. English football is the oldest profession in sport.
Keep it short. Keep it short, though. Keep it short, though. Last time you went on a tirade like
I'll
this or a
keep it short,
tangent,
I'll keep it
you were
short.
talking about a
Okay,
player that was
why
dead
do you-
for years.
Okay, but quickly.
Okay.
Why do you have? Yeah, I know. Why do you guys have at, and then you've got to go through the bloody your list in the week, and you go back and forward. Like you have the versus the home team on the left, and then you just do. That's all you need because you know the other team's away. You guys, you got to go back and forward. You got me with this little at thing. Whereas English
That's
football,
what's bothering you. That's what's bothering you. Well, I mean,
but that's crazy. But that's crazy. Why can't you make it easy? And just so you look down one side, home team. Yes, you have to go back and forward, isn't that?
well, but it depends. It depends where you look. Look, bro. Here's the week 1 schedule. Okay, this is not a team-based schedule. What you're looking at is when you're looking at an individual team schedule, it'll say at home versus whatever. They're just whatever. I don't know. But right here, I'm showing it to you. This is NFL.com. Everything is at the Bears, at the Bengals, at the Colts, at the Dolphins. So I don't really know what you're talking about. I know that sometimes someone might do that, but it's not a pandemic, Bob. This is the second time you're calling out This is the second time you're calling out a total non-factor, time-wasting, show-wasting situation, Bob. And you want me to pay for your trip out to Vegas? What are we doing here, Bob? Hit me. Let's reset. Hit me with an important question. Because, yes, that was definitely distracting.
Okay, fair enough. The out-of-bounds rule, right?
Come on, Bob.
Year. No, come on, listen, just listen.
I got
to
my
me, right?
Hey, I got
So-
my look, Bob. If I hang up on you, I don't.
wait,
Hey,
wait,
Bob,
wait.
Bob,
The
listen,
guys-
Bob. Listen. If I hang up on you,
Okay.
I don't want you
Okay.
to take offense. It happens to people all the time. Call back tomorrow and try again.
Yep.
I got my finger over the button. You're on thin ice right now with your topics.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, thin ice. Okay, Dotson. Your man, what's his name? Jaden Daniels 5. Is Dotson going to be a real sleeper on the outside, burning down catching passes?
I think he is because he was misused last year. All the metrics, his route running, his route execution, it was all phenomenal. Not to say phenomenal, but very good numbers. Yet he had no stats. What's that tell you? That Sam Howell didn't throw him the ball. So he's a really solid sleeper candidate, and he's practically free. So you're not
exactly.
Yeah, you're not wrong there.
He's 138 or something. It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Okay, why are people so down on Murray when he's finished like even last year halfway through the year he finished like in the top 10 or something, right, with running and passing, but they're down on him, aren't they?
Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Well,
Kyler Murray,
I think people are down on the Cardinals. I think people are unwilling to accept that this thing's changing in the positive direction. I think people are box score bobbies, and they don't know that the Cardinals were actually playing like dogs last year. And any team that played the Cardinals, including the Niners, including Deebo Samuel, including everybody, will admit that the Cardinals just don't go away. They're like a bad rash. And teams may have finished them off at the end of games, but they were so tough and without a lot of talent, were gritting it out and making it really hard for teams to finish them off. And you add in Benson, and if Connor keeps Benson off the field, that means Connor's doing great. So either way, their running attack is top 10, top 12. And then you got the best wide receiver in the National Football League a calendar year from today. And that means if he's going to be ranked that high in the offseason, that means he's going to have a phenomenal rookie year. You got one of the top 1, 2, or 3 overall tight ends. I won't even leave him out of the top 1 consideration. Like, I'm going to call him a 1 to 3 tight end. We don't know how good he could be with help and Marvin Harrison Jr. stretching the field and with a good running attack. They drafted well on defense. Kyler's not as underrated as you think. If you drafted an Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty best ball draft like we're going to do tonight, hit that link, do it live, guys. Sign up, hit this link right now and sign up. They'll match 50% of your first deposit up to $250. I just dropped the link. We'll be drafting tonight. If you draft on an Underdog Fantasy draft tonight with us, you'll see that Kyler's going relatively high. Like not as high as like AR5, but he's going like in that range of this is a sleeper, great value, offense is improving. So I think you'll find that people are not sleeping on him as much as you think. All right, hey, last question, Bob.
Okay, last question. How come you don't like Neighbors that much, do you? What's the story about Neighbors?
I do like Neighbors, but who's throwing to him? A guy, Danny Dimes? There's a laughing stock of the league right now, wearing his brand new uniform, looking like he's in the circus.
Doesn't he just have to get it in the area code though? Same area code. And
it doesn't matter. He's not a good quarterback. This team's gonna lose. You can't tell me he's even gonna be in the lineup all year, which means Neighbors is gonna have to get to know another quarterback midseason, 4 weeks in, 5 weeks in. Not to mention, can Danny Dimes even start week 1? He's coming off an ACL tear, bro. He's not even ready right now. Like Neighbors, look at Barkley. How good is Saquon Barkley? I'll answer it for you, Bob. You don't even know. You don't even know. You know why I know you don't know? Because I don't even know. No one knows how good Saquon Barkley is. Why? Because he's been handcuffed with both hands behind his back his entire career in New York. He's got one leg cuffed to the other leg, cuffed to the two arms. This guy's been hopping on one leg and looking like an absolute monster considering. We have no clue how good Barkley could be the number 1 running back in 2024 at the end of the year. He's about to get one of the best offensive lines behind one of the best offenses in the league with a very underrated defense that ranked very low last year, very bad, but they're going to come out on fire. Drafted 2 of the best cornerbacks. You got Fangio heading up the D. You got Kellen Moore heading up the O. This thing is going to get out of control really quick for everybody, and Philly's a problem. And we're about to see Barkley. My whole point being, Bob, is how bad was Barkley in New York? It wasn't very good. Like, he couldn't get touchdowns. We think Neighbors is going to live in the red zone when Barkley couldn't live in the red zone? I don't think so. Neighbors is a great wide receiver. I like Dable. Who knows if Dable's even there, though, by the time they bring a quarterback in next year. But they've crapped the bed, diarrhea all over the bed with this situation, this Danny Dimes contract, being married to it again for another year, not going after Penix Jr. like they should have, to be honest with you. And I'm glad they did. Thank God they did. Thank God.
Mashed potatoes.
It's not like Penix Jr. would have Neighbors. That I would like that, but they would have drafted Penix Jr. instead of Neighbors. Or they should have took Neighbors and traded the farm to go get Penix Jr. and then have something to build on, but they didn't. So was Neighbors going to get 4 touchdowns this year? I don't know.
Well, but I reckon Neighbors is. Some people say Neighbors is better than Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, I know you don't like that, and so there is talk that he could. If Dimes gets it.
Call terminated.
Hi. What would you like?
Footballs, please. Lots of footballs, please.
Coming up.
He's Marvin, he's 11 feet tall, and he loves to consume the football. He's Kyler, he's 4 feet tall, but Star and Marvin will answer the call. They're Kyler and Marvin.
Bob, I'm sorry I had to hang up on you. You know I appreciate you, pal. You represent, the overseas community here on the channel, so I do appreciate you. But we can't all be superheroes every single day, and sometimes we're gonna get booted off the phone line. But it almost feels like you got to be like a philosophy major, because every question you have is like a philosophical brain. But explain to me the inner workings of why Aaron Rodgers, decided to potentially wear green socks the day he tore his ACL, or his Achilles, Sir Smack Tastic with the $5 hauler. Dynasty advice: give JJ, Najee, and get Kyron a 26 first rounder, Nico and Jacobs. Wow. Najee, JJ. So Kyron first, Nico. I would take Kyron the first, Nico, and Jacobs. It's a lot of value, bro. The reason being is I love JJ, and I'm not saying JJ is going the route of like Mike Thomas or something. So don't take it that way. I love JJ. JJ is a top 1 to 5 wide receiver. But there's a reason he's dropping right now below. Even with his quarterback, he was handed his quarterback. Sometimes we forget JJ has already been given his quarterback. You know, when we were ranking him 6 or 7 overall, who should be number 1? JJ should be ranked number 1. And out of all players, he should be the number 1 overall pick in fantasy football. But we've been drafting him 6, 7 because he hasn't had a quarterback. He's had Sam Darnold, right? He got his quarterback, JJM. Yet the ADPs are not adjusting. Why do you think that is? Because everyone's concerned that, like Barkley in New York, we're going to see this guy throttled down in Minnesota. It sucks. It sucks. That's why I wanted Justin Herbert to get traded to the Miami Dolphins, so Justin Herbert could become the potential top 5, 6 quarterback he could really be if he was unlocked and used properly and had good weapons. He doesn't have that in LAC, regardless of what Charger fans want to hear. It's not the case. Like, Herbert's going to be playing in the high school band, and that's all he's ever going to be able to do. He's one of the best drummers in the world, let's say, that could go on tour and drum for anybody, for Tool, for whatever. Just name a band that needs the most skilled drummer. And that's the drummer that Herbert is. But instead, Harbaugh is saying you're going to go play for the high school band, and that's it. You'll never play anywhere else ever again. That is the amount of talent you're going to be able to exude and let loose. And that's it. That's all we're ever going to ask you to do. Play for the local high school. That's how this feels. Herbert's getting robbed. Herbert fans are getting robbed. We needed Herbert in Minnesota. The dead cap, I know. Dead cap be damned. It couldn't happen. But at the end of the day, JJ has JJM. And I just don't know. We're seeing people react. So for me, it's like you give me Nico and Jacobs over JJ. You're giving me the first rounder and Kyron. Like, this is just a lot of talent. I would probably take the boatload of talent you got there. Try and get Corum to the best of your ability. Aaron, Smitty approved the Kyron side. And even if, let's say, Kyron didn't work out, you're still getting Nico, you're still getting Jacobs, you're still getting the first rounder. That's a lot of talent. I would take that side. I do love JJ. I do love him. But he cannot be the player we want him to be right now. Maybe that changes. Maybe JJ McCarthy changes my mind. I hope he does. Right now I'm not feeling it. But it is what it is. Call into the phone line. We had somebody on hold, but Bob took so long that they hung up. so dial in. Phone line's open. Bob, I appreciate you. I don't think Bob's got tough skin. I don't think Bob's going to take it the wrong way. When he asked me to pay for his flight out to Vegas or his trip out, and I said no, he bounced back pretty quickly. It's not like he lingered on that for a while. So, Bob, we'll give you another chance later in the show. Okay, how's that? Dial into the phone lines, brought to you by the Attic.shop.
Live from the Fantasy
Show. Call into the show.
And for those that missed it, this is the Four Horsemen, the buckets of players you can get in rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, specifically from draft slots that can allow you to get one of the top 5 wide receivers. We'll have a version of it that's more later, like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, or more so 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I'll have a version of it for the 11, 12, but this might be more of the wide receiver approach, like the Garrett Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr. type of approach, similar to the double decker, which will probably just be the double decker. Dawson from Utah, what is going on, young man?
What do you think Caleb Williams is going to do his first season in the NFL?
Well, I mean, you've heard me. You really asking me. You can't possibly not know my take on this.
I mean, I watch your live streams quite a bit, but I haven't heard you talk about Caleb.
Really? I mean, I don't know. That's like saying, hey, Does the sun come out? I've never been outside during the day. Is there really this? I mean, look. My position has not changed any other than I will say that if we're going to be honest about how players look early in camp, it's so early, they're thrown in shorts right now. If we're going to go out and say, oh, look how good Jaden Daniels and Penix Jr. look throwing the ball in shorts with no defenders. If we're going to go out and say that and get all bold and crazy and go, oh, yeah, JD5's throwing missiles, and he is. Believe me, JD5 is throwing missiles in camp right now. Absolute lasers. Penix Jr. looks phenomenal as well. So if I'm going to be biased like that, or whatever you want to say, I will admit that Caleb hasn't looked bad. But it's never been about Caleb's mechanics. It's never been about his arm. I've never once said Caleb Williams isn't ultra talented from a skill position. He's not the best pocket passer to come out of college. JD5 is. And if anybody disagrees with that, the phone line is right here. You can call in and tell me to my face. Because JD5 is, and I'll shut your argument down. JD5 is the best pocket passer, not only in this draft class, but in the last decade. Coming out of college, he's the number one pocket passer, and there's data to back it up. Caleb has a gun. Caleb plays off schedule. Caleb runs around a lot. Caleb takes 5,000 seconds to throw the football. And I don't know if the Bears will set him up to play good pocket football. And can he adjust back to that? Because he has shown he can do that in his past, but he hasn't proven he can win big competition, and JD5 has. JD5, and then you can blame, JD5 had great receivers. Did he have great receivers because they were great, or did he help make them great? Because I look at JD5's throws, his accuracy, his cannon, his ability to throw touchdown strikes from the pocket, 35 of them, by the way, which led college football. 35 pocket touchdowns last year. 35 of his 40 touchdown passes were from the pocket. I don't know if Caleb's going to be able to play big boy football if the Bears don't support him properly. And if they do, then it could work out. So I will sit here and tell you, there is a chance that the Bears, if they're able to cultivate him properly, that this thing has a shot of working out. The problem is that the stat that I just put on screen a few minutes ago, and I'll drop it on screen again, the first chance I can find it. I think it's right. Damn it, where is it? I had it here a second ago. It was in here in this pile. There it is. The problem is, look at these numbers, bro. Look at these numbers. Since 2001, the Bears have had 468 touchdown passes. And 2001, what's the significance? That was when Caleb Williams is born. So the day Caleb Williams took his first breath, this team since then has 468 passing touchdowns, 393 interceptions, 934 sacks, and 6.1 yards per attempt. They haven't been able to do anything in the quarterback room since Caleb took his first breath. Could they change all that? Yeah. Is Shane Waldron going to be the guy? We'll find out. We'll find out. I mean, that's the problem, bro. Will he be supported? And you could say, well, I think it's a good sign that they have brought him the most talent that they say any rookie quarterback has had, which I don't necessarily agree with, because I venture to say that Washington has a better overall supporting cast, frankly. It's close. I'm not saying that the Chicago Bears don't have a really good rookie supporting cast. I mean, Bryce Young wasn't given that, but look at Stroud. Stroud had a great supporting cast as well. I think people aren't even talking about that for some reason when they mention that. But I like Washington's offense more than I like the Bears' offense. You got Keenan Allen, who's 32 years old. You got DeAndre Swift, who's coming with 4 flat tires from the way that Philly used him. I'm not concerned about the Chicago Bear running attack. Give me Eckler on the chance that he's amazing. Give me Luke McCaffrey, who I absolutely am starting to love, by the way. Luke McCaffrey, Eckler, Brian Robinson, very crafty combination of runners to go with the best running quarterback to come out of college. And I don't know, you could almost say ever, if you wanted to. This is a guy that's a dual threat, a true dual threat. Could be a top 5 passing quarterback in the National Football League in Jaden Daniels. Top 5 passing quarterback. Top 1 running quarterback. And they've got all these other weapons. I only emphasize JD5 while I'm answering the Caleb question, just to say that if anybody's debating Caleb or JD5, you shouldn't be. It's a no-brainer.
In one of my Superflex drafts, I did take Caleb over JD5. Do you think that's a regret?
Finish him. Call terminated.
Hang up on you on this one. I was about to. I mean, what did I just did I just say? Are you watching the show on mute, Dawson? Are you on the phone line with the mute button on? What's going on?
No,
I just said it. If you're thinking about it, don't. It's a no-brainer. And then this is like Miss Smitty. We got roast beef in the fridge. There's an expiration date on it. I'll ask her, can I still eat this? She'll say, look at the expiration date, dummy. And I'll look at the expiration date and I'll say, it's good until tomorrow. And she'll go, and then I'll say, so can I eat it? And she'll go, you just answered your own question. You want me to say the words? Yes, Smitty, you can eat the roast beef. That's the same thing here, bro. Yes, you made a big mistake. I'm sorry. Could it work out for you? Sure. Could Caleb still be a top 10 quarterback? Look, I mean, bro, Fields was top 10 to 12 failing in Chicago. He was top 10 to 12 failing, and they got rid of him. So when I say Caleb fails in Chicago, it's not like he can't score fantasy points and get moved on from 4 or 5 years from now. Like if Caleb ends up becoming a bust somehow, he could still be relatively solid from a fantasy perspective and just can't win games, crumbles when the moments get tough. Like that's the part I worry about Caleb the most is he built to be a leader of the men on the field from the Hollywoodness that we get from him. That's my problem. It's not about his cannon.
Yeah.
But yeah, JD, bro, if you've been watching my show, like I don't think you can have watched much of. I mean, I know you're a regular, Dawson. You're on the phone line. You've called in numerous times over the last couple months.
I know how much you like JD5. That
I could only say it like look at my. Let me show you my Instagram, bro. This is where it's crazy to me that people I had like literally my last. I've got let's see 1, 2, 3, like 4 of my last like 6 Instagram posts have been JD5 top 5 quarterback. JD5, here he comes. JD5, get ready. My Saturn men list. Here we go.
The Saturn men.
Then I've got the Spider-Man, the 2 5s. Like I can only spread my messages. I'm doing the best I can. I'm screaming from the rooftops.
There are 2 5s? JD5? AR5? There can't be.
Oh no. They're gonna cross streams.
You started to talk during that and no one could hear you, so go ahead and restate what you were saying. Something about the supporting cast.
Yeah, I felt like Caleb had the better supporting cast going into the NFL.
Does he?
Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Joe Medunze, DeAndre Swift. I mean, that's all pretty good.
Yeah. Well, what about Eckler? I know he's older, but you got the option of Eckler. You've got Brian Robinson. You got Luke McCaffrey, who's a really diverse. He's a quarterback, running back, wide receiver. He's kind of like a Taysom Hill in a way. He's going to be really good. I'm starting to really like Luke McCaffrey to the point where Bro, I don't even know if Luke McCaffrey hits the Moon Man list or something at some point. I like Luke McCaffrey a lot. Ben Sinnott could be this year's Laporta. You got Terry Scary McLaurin, who does nothing but get 1,000-yard seasons and has never had good quarterback play. You got Jahan Dotson, who I thought was going to be a massive breakout last year. And all the metrics and his route conversion and everything, all of his data suggests that he ran good routes, ran proper routes, converted on them, was quick, should have had big numbers. Like if you looked at his route completion or his route percentages and all that data that speaks to how good he's doing his job, would have, if you just blindly looked at that, you would have said, God, this guy probably had 1,000 yards and 7 or 8 touchdowns, right? No, because they didn't throw the ball to him. And that's not his fault. JD5 is going to lean on him. Luke McCaffrey, I believe, as I just said earlier when you were listening to the show on mute, I just said earlier that the Washington, I believe, and this is my opinion, bro. You're allowed to have your opinion, and there are people that are going to come into my comment section later and tell me how wrong I am on Caleb and all that. That's fine. I expect that. I don't care. This is my opinion. But I'd rather have the Washington talent with JD5 than the Chicago talent. I love Odunze. I really do. I really, really do. But the sum total of everything else with JD5's skill set, it's the perfect fit. Washington is going to be special. And you got Kingsbury. Kingsbury versus, if you factor all that in, Kingsbury, okay, you've got an improving defense in Washington. They had one of the top 5 drafts as well. They brought in Sinnott, Luke McCaffrey. They have Eckler. They have Brian Robinson. They have a really good squad, and I think Washington could surprise a lot of people. Maybe they aren't the team they need to be this year, but I think like the Detroit Lions the year prior to this past season, when they kind of got on the map and were like, holy shit, like this team's coming for everybody the next year. That's the season I expect Washington to have. I will say this, bro. If Caleb doesn't do well in the first half of the year, he's never going to, because he has a very easy schedule. That you were gifted. And hopefully he has some fantasy production.
Yeah.
I
mean, in my opinion, I think DJ Moore is quite a bit better than Terry Scary, and Real Madunze, I believe, is quite a bit better than Jahan Dotson. So, like, that alone, and Keenan Allen, I mean, I feel like Chicago has it better.
Yeah, they probably do on paper, bro, but for the fit with Kingsbury and Sinnott and all that, I'm just saying the Washington Commanders are a better fit, I think, especially with Kingsbury. That entire fit is better than the Chicago fit. Just think of it like this way, bro. You could have the best tires. You could have the best, hydraulics, if you do that kind of thing. You could have all of those accessories, which the Chicago Bears have. Odunze, DJ Moore, those are all very, very good components. But if you don't have a good engine, and I question the Caleb Williams piece of that engine, but with that engine comes the offensive coordinator, and I don't know how Shane Waldron's going to be able to develop a guy like Caleb. We'll find out. But you give me Kingsbury and JD5, I don't care if my tires don't look quite as good. My car is going to beat your car in a race because I've got JD5 and Kingsbury as the engine of the vehicle. It's like a car Dom would drive in the Fast 5 or Fast and the Furious. It may not look like it's going to beat the Lambo on the line, but guess what? Dom's driving, baby. Dom is JD5. JD5 is Dom. They are one in the same.
Yeah.
All right, hey, Dawson, I appreciate you calling anytime. I'm sorry to be so hard on the topic today. I could be wrong, bro. I could be wrong, okay?
I mean, I think they're both going to be good quarterbacks.
That's true. That could be true, too. No one has to be wrong. Maybe we're both right. Maybe they score equal, and I'm trying to be serious here. I'm not trying to make fun of Caleb. Maybe they score an equal amount of points, so they're neck and neck, okay? So maybe it'll work out for you. All right, Dawson, call in tomorrow. Later.
Okay.
Anyway. Super chats, bring them on in. I'll answer them in order in which they're received. The gifted memberships, if anybody drops any, I'll try and highlight those. Let me see if anybody's dropped any celebratory messages. We do have 2 of them. A-Train came in and said, Smitty, the best in the biz. A-Train, appreciate you. I remember A-Train from Chicago, by the way, on that topic. Loved A-Train. A-Train was the best in Chicago. You guys remember him? Celebrating 15 months from Mario. Worthy will be a Moon Man by week 1. Well, the Moon Man gets locked in. We're not going to do mid-season Moon Man. People got all upset over that. We were going to potentially do it. I tried to, add it. It was so crazy. The people were so upset about this. And I couldn't explain it every show, and I had to, so I stopped. I said, look, let's do a rolling mid-season Moon Man list. And everybody just had a problem with it. It was like, you can't change the Moon Man. I'm like, we're not changing the Moon Man. It's a new mid-season Moon Man, ever evolving. And I stopped it. I stopped it because every single time, Ziggy off. Every single time I had to repeat myself. Every single time. I'm not doing. We'll come up with some sort of mid-season or during the season monster list or some kind of space cadet list that has nothing to do with Moon Men, Mars Men, Saturn Men, because people get confused with that stuff when I start having some mid-season version of an off-season product. But just to let you know, no one can be a Moon Man week 1. Moon Men get locked in, Saturn Men get locked in, Mars Men get locked in. We may or may not add a card. So the Mars Man and Moon Man card, I got to get with my Mars Men to make sure they're okay with it. Probably going to be let's see, Ziggy, what is the second closest planet to the sun? I believe it's Venus. Ziggy off. Maybe Ziggy off. Maybe we add a Venus card. It'll be between a Moon Man and a Mars Man card, and we'll add a Venus card. It could be a Mercury card as well, but the Venus card, so get ready for it. We'll be doing that. What did Kingsbury do in Arizona? Created what was arguably and easily the best offense in the entire National Football League and the best team in the National Football League for half of a season, and then they got hit with injuries and it all fell apart, and then he got fired because they couldn't get things back on track, and Kyler got derailed, but Kyler's been great since. So, John, they had an unbelievable offense that nobody could stop, and they were the last undefeated team through half of a year, and everybody was praising Kingsbury left and right. So that's what they did. Not to mention he was a head coach, and I don't know that he's ready. Maybe he does become a good head coach later, but he's better as an offensive coordinator, and he had too much on his plate. So that's the way that goes, bro. Yeah, we might do a Venus card. I don't know what the features will be. Venus card might be. Well, Venus card will be below. I don't know where it will be. Maybe it'll be below Moon Man card as well. We'll figure it out. Maybe the space station card. That's in between the Earth and the Moon. That way we don't step on the Mars Men or Moon Man cards. But the Mars Men it's supposed to be the top level card. So that's why I can't really make a Saturn card. But I think I can make a Venus card because the Moon Man is below the Mars Man anyway. So I think it's okay to create a level that's equal in Venus, but not to exceed Mars. It's complicated. If anybody's significant others listening right now, they're like, what in the hell are you watching right now? Kyler can't pass to the middle of the field, says Prime. Well, just wait and see, bro. Just wait and see. You can rip on Kyler Murray all you want. He's a young kid. He's still growing. He's still becoming the player that I think he can be. He hasn't had supporting cast. He's coming back from an ACL tear last year. He has the capability of being a top 5 fantasy football quarterback with weapons, and he has some of the best weapons in the NFL right now. He has a top 3 tight end, a top 1 to 4 wide receiver. No matter which way you spin it, two top five players at each of those positions, and quite arguably with Connor and Benson has a top 6 to 10 running back. They drafted very well in the draft. They dressed the defense. Their defense was putrid last year, but that also goes along with the fact that their offense couldn't necessarily get it done, so their defense got tired and worn out. So I believe their defense is a little better than they played, but you mix in the fact that they improved. It's going to be a painful year for the Cardinal haters out there, most of which the Cardinal hate is coming from some sort of fandom, like a interdivision rivalry type of comment. So Prime, I don't know if that's what it is. Smitty always wanted to make cartoons, says Daniel. I didn't always want to make cartoons. I make cartoons, pal. I didn't want it. I don't inspire to do it. I do it. Come on, man. Pick up.
Please leave your message after the tone.
Hey man, it's Devontae Adams again. Call me back, bro.
In your eyes, the light that hit your eyes, incomplete flawless. Your eyes,
Garrett Wilson and the boys.
your eyes,
Rodgers has new toys.
your eyes,
The lights, the heat.
your
A
eyes,
Jets fan complete.
your eyes.
You don't want to test Sauce Gardner's heat.
I want to when I grow up, I want to make commercials. Damn it, I already make them. Okay? Or, hey, Smitty, he wants to go to ESPN someday. I don't want to go to ESPN. We're going to be better than ESPN. This is all I wanted. You think I want to work for somebody? You think I don't want to take a nap at 2 p.m. if I want to? Phone lines are open. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I appreciate the kind words when people say, Smitty, you belong on ESPN, or Smitty, someday ESPN. I want to do that. The only reason I do that is if they offer me Pat McAfee money, which is not going to happen, then I would say, you know what? I'm sorry. I got to do it, but I'll be back. Give me 4 years of that money, 3 years of that money, then I can come do this for free. I'll turn super chats off and just rock it free just for fun. But no, our plan here is to become bigger than any of that, you know? Like, I want this channel to have someday, and that's some of the limitations in the name, the Fantasy Football Show versus like the Smitty Football Show or whatever. It sometimes has people thinking that when they want news and NFL coverage, they can't come here. And that part has been, you know, I don't want to say it limits our reach a little bit, but I feel like sometimes it can. And so, you know, I have had thoughts that have crossed my mind of how to make sure this is branded NFL, but at the end of the day, I don't need to change anything. This show is marvelous. We're doing great. I don't need to do anything really. It's not big picture wise. You know, maybe I just turn another channel into a news show only, and we have three, a third channel. But right now, there's no need for that. Sebastian, you're live.
Yo, Smitty, can I refer to your last show for this topic I want to introduce?
Sure.
Kendre Miller is what I got to say about your strength and schedule ranking.
Yeah,
down the stretch.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, did you see that part of the show?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just tuning in right now, but I figured you would talk about that. Then.
Yeah. So, Kendre Miller, for those that don't know, his week 17, his week 16, his week 15, his week 14 are marvelous. So what we said on the show was that if and when Kamara, who's 29 years old now, Ziggy, how old is Alvin Kamara? He's 29, but when does he turn?
Alvin Kamara is 28 years old.
And he turns, okay, so July. Ziggy off. He turns 29 before the season begins, and he's going to break down at some point. And so they're pretty easy to cuff because Alvin Kamara is a steal right now. I don't know that I love Alvin Kamara like in his own right. You know, I might just draft Kendre Miller and then be done with it. But you look at this schedule that this Saints team has, and specifically the part of the schedule after the bye week when Kendre's probably going to get a good chance of being the starter. 23, 24, 32, 26, 20. So this is midseason monster in the making. Midseason monster in the making. We liked him coming out of college, so he's definitely got upside.
And then Tua, how would you feel about him as a quarterback too, like on a best ball team? Would you be like, I want someone else right now, or? Or do you still want him for what his price is?
Look, yeah. You give me like a different running, like if I can get Achane or Kyren with Tua instead of just the quarterback, and we're talking about a quarterback I don't even like totally love, like a Herbert or something. Then yeah, give me Tua in the running back. But I don't love Tua. I'm not gonna tell people to go draft Tua. And I'll also say that, like, you better have somebody else like Penix Jr. or Fields or something just in case that doesn't go well or later in the year. And the good thing about Penix Jr. and Fields is those guys, one of those two guys should get into the lineup by the time you might have Tua not in the lineup. If that's the way that Tua's, if he goes like this and then midseason gets hurt or something. But I don't hate that. It's not a great plan of attack, but it doesn't scare me to death. Because in Superflex, what is Superflex? It's not a mandatory position. It's a flex position. Now, very rarely do you win a Superflex without a second quarterback because quarterbacks score a lot more. But you can take some gambles that in a mandatory 2 QB league you can't. And sometimes people will say that their mandatory 2 QB is a super flex, and I'll give them super flex advice, but you got to be very careful when you call in or ask advice about a mandatory 2 QB because that's a very different ball game.
I think I'm talking about more like best ball. If you go like Achane and then Burrow and then Tua's there, like you stack them at your quarterback too, or are you fading them for like a Tajay Spears type of player? If you have an Achane or a Tyreek.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. I love if you could get a couple, but there might be another quarterback I like better than Tua that I could get instead of two of those. So if you give me some quarterbacks where Tua is getting drafted, let me see if I like another one more. But I do like the idea.
Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, Jaden Daniels is a little.
Jaden, what are you talking? Of course, Jaden Daniels over Tua, bro. Jaden Daniels could be
10 times out of 10, but I'm talking about in the context of like if you wanted to stack at quarterback too, if you have a Mahomes or a Burrow.
I know, to give me JD5. You just said JD5 or potentially Tua as a second quarterback. Give me JD5 all day long, 100 times out of 100. Okay. So I was just I wanted you to give me examples because I don't necessarily want to pick Tua for this experiment, but I would. So give me Achane or Kyren and give me JD5, and then I don't have to take my quarterback in round 2. I'm down for that 100%. But this is also my formula, bro. Like JD5, and the thing is JD5 may not go later though. Like it would not shock me if JD5 on the regular in best ball redraft starts going so much higher than we think later. Right now you can pull it off. My video, I'll probably do it very soon because JD5's value is going to go up. So remember last year, my how to dominate a Superflex league, that video, and each year I draft my Superflex league, and I'm not going to suggest that your boy shut it down, but winning 2 years in a row, I don't think they're doing it again this year. So, I do my video, how to dominate a Superflex, how to crush everyone in Superflex, and I deploy the strategy 2 straight years, draft it live, 2 straight years I've won this expert league. It's an expert league. It's Instagram. Some of the biggest Instagram fantasy football pages are in this league, and I won it 2 years in a row deploying the strategy. So I will be creating a video on that same strategy for this year, and it will include JD5 as that second quarterback because that's the component. What you're saying is the formula that I say wins leagues. To not go after your second round quarterback, to draft your quarterback for sure, get an elite stud in round 1, get back to normal drafting in round 2, and then make sure you don't miss out. Who was my person that won leagues last year as QB2? The guy you don't take in second round. Go after running backs, wide receivers in round 2 and get the quarterback later. Love. Jordan Love. And
I'm sorry, you're talking about something else.
And he won Superflex leagues for so many people, I can't even tell you. That video was a smash for the second straight year in a row. And JD5 is going to be the quarterback involved in the video this year. It's quarterback, back to normal drafting until you have to draft JD5, and then you scoop them up. Now, in Dynasty, JD5's going like in round 2 in a Dynasty Superflex. In redraft, no. But who knows how high he climbs.
Ooh, I got another JD5 question while we're on this topic. Who do you like more? I know you love AR5, and we've already seen it. Do you like the price of JD5, like 1-for-1, over like AR5? Would you rather have an AR5 at that 6080p or your JD5 at that 100? Like if you only had to pick one.
Give me both. Two different leagues. I'm doing one in one and one in the other. And who's to say you don't take AR5 and then take JD5 in the hundreds and have them both plug and play? I refuse to pick because I love both of them. They're both Saturn men.
The Saturn men.
Or no, I'm sorry. JD5's the Saturn man.
He's on a shuttle to Mars.
AR5 is on the Mars man. Mainly because AR5 started to climb in value, but he's still a good value. But AR5's got a cannon. He's out there right now. His shoulder looks fine. He's out there right now throwing like 70-yard bombs as if they're nothing. This guy, it's so funny. People are like, he can't throw. He only runs. AR5 has a cannon, man. He has such a cannon. Is he going to need to work on accuracy and reading defenses? Yeah. He's played a handful of games and he got hurt. He's essentially redoing his rookie year. Like, AR5 is still growing and maturing. AR5 has a cannon. I dare I say he probably has him and Josh Allen. I don't think Aaron Rodgers could do it as much anymore. Toss that long ball. Maybe he can. But, man, it wouldn't surprise me if AR5 could throw the deepest football in the National Football League. Him and Joe Milton.
So what you're saying is that price point, you like...
Both.
Let's just say like a Pacheco and JD5 as much as a Trey Benson and an AR5. Like you're equal on both of them.
I'd rather have Trey Benson and AR5 in that example. But that's why I deploy both strategies, because I might find a different player than Pacheco and love the combo there as well. But I mean, it just depends, man. It's case by case. On the clock, who's there? Pacheco doesn't do it for me. Give me AR5 there. But if Mahomes is there, I'm taking Mahomes. If Hurts is there, I'm taking Hurts. And AR5 is my plan when I don't grab one of those quarterbacks, but I do traditionally in the 3rd and 4th round grab a Hurts, a Allen, or Mahomes, and I'm always going to have that on the docket. That's how I draft. I'm so not on the same page as pretty much 90% of the industry. And that's every year. All right, Sebastian, anything else?
I'll call back in if I have anything, but I like the debate.
All right, later. Let's see here. Mahomes has a cartoon. Where's our Mahomes? We have a Mahomes. He does need a cartoon. I thought I had something for him. We do have this, by the way. Look at this glorious crew right here. This is the Smitty bunch, everybody. This crew right here is going to take you to the promised land. And this is two families coming together. This is a Smitty bunch. Trey Benson, eventually, but Connor in the bottom left, Connor and Trey together. I should probably put Connor in there at the bottom. Trey McBride, Kyle Pitts, London, MHJ. The future of the Atlanta Falcons passing attacks, Penix Jr., but in the meantime, Alice is steady Eddie, Bijan, number 1 running back in the league potentially. This is such a good-looking crew right here. Unbelievable. And not to mention, I have that shirt. Oh, it hasn't. Yeah, I have that shirt somewhere. By the way, guys, we'll be giving away... I'll be giving away Underdog shirts when we go to Vegas. I've got so many shirts here that I'm bringing with me. These Underdog shirts. I just showed you the pile of black shirts. I've got a pile just as big of these yellow. I'll be bringing a boatload of these to Vegas to give away. on top of a handful of these beauties, these Underdog tennis balls, Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Your boy will be in Vegas June 29th and 28th, and I will be giving away all kinds of stuff poolside, doing a live streaming probably 4 or 5 times during my Vegas visit. So June 28, June 29 in Vegas at Circa Hotel and Casino. Sir Rupert Smitty, how do you rank Spears, Chandler, and Ford? I would probably say Tajay Spears, and then a tier break, and then Ford, and then Chandler below him. I think Ford's got an opportunity because, I mean, good God, he scores a lot of touchdowns, but he's not real efficient outside of touchdowns, but he does score touchdowns. They do give him the football near the goal line. The other part that I would say concern me would be that you know, none of these guys these are stabs in the dark, right? Spears, I think eventually he gets a shot. I think Chandler, I don't know, he'll probably get a shot because Aaron Jones is old and Chubb's injured. So all three of them, it's a good grouping because they all three have opportunity. But the one guy that is on the midseason monster list is this gentleman right here. Spears, top right corner. And so, obviously, he's the guy I'm going to tell you to rank above the others. Because by the midseason, Pollard, or by the end of the season, Pollard probably will be injured. Or ineffective, or Spears will just be a big, big part of the passing game all year long. And just, you know, he gets a shot, he's going to deliver. Midseason monster list is looking pretty strong, I might add. Thank you, Sir Rupert, for the super chat. You are the man, the myth, the legend. Thank you very much. And Cam said, in a 1 QB league, you have Burrows, and AR5. Do you draft JD5 at 1.3? If Marvin Harrison Jr. is there, you take him 1.1, in my opinion. But if he's not there, Neighbors, and if both those guys are gone for whatever reason, I do take JD5 and I make a trade later. Because you're in a super flex, you should be able to make a trade. But I would definitely take one of the two wide receivers in your situation. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't be on the phone trying to trade Burrow before the draft and then take JD5. You know, or set something up. Because if you could trade Burrow for Kyron and something, or Burrow for, I mean, you could, look, Burrow could go in a super flex startup. Oh, 1 QB. I'm sorry. 1 QB. I was thinking 2 QB. 1 QB. Yeah, you're set at quarterback. No, you got to take one of the wide receivers, bro. You got to take, and even a Dunze. JD5, I'm sorry. For some reason, I thought that was a 2 QB. And the 2 QB, though, that advice applies if anybody's got that scenario. Sorry. Max Swanson, Kyron Williams, yes, sir. Kyron to the moon. Chase Brown being slept on heavily, says Kenobi. I agree with you. I think more than Chase Brown, though, I think Zach Moss is being slept on. Levis liked to dump off to Spears. That's correct, Prime. Spears is a very solid sleeper. Ford will do better this season. He could. All right, dial in a couple more phone calls. We'll be back tonight to draft.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in. We'll be talking strategies, best ball strategies as we draft tonight on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Where did I dropped my ball? Here's the link if anybody wants to get going on that. Make sure you're signed up before we draft.
Garrett Wilson and the boys.
You're right.
Rogers has new toys.
Make sure you sign up ahead of time. I just dropped the link in the live chat. Code Smitty will get you a match up to 50% of your first deposit. So you deposit 100, they'll give you 50. You deposit 20, they'll give you 10. You deposit 500, they'll give you 250. Click the link. Do it live. Yeah, Vidal's definitely going to tear it up in the second half of the year. Him and Spears and Kendre Miller. Those are all midseason monsters. Vidal and let's put Vidal on the midseason monsters now. Let's get the image of this guy up on the. Let's see here. Himani, Vidal. Let's get a picture of this guy up here. This guy's such a decent prospect too. It's not like he's some, just, we like him because, he's got an opportunity potentially, which he totally does have an opportunity. But this guy's, 215 pounds. He's a nice size. He's not super tall, but look, he's 5'8", 5'9". 6th-round pick, not high draft capital whatsoever, but solid. Here, put yourself on mute real quick, Josh, till I come to you. Got a lot of background noise there. But Vidal had 1,600 yards and 14 touchdowns. I mean, he played at Troy, so I get that there's going to be a little bit of concern. He also had in 2023 a touchdown and 200 yards receiving. So he's a capable receiver. It's not like he comes out with like 4 or 6 receptions. He comes out with like 26 receptions, 22, 26, 18. So he's actually one of the more, I don't want to say proven receiving backs from the draft class, but one of the more like, I'm not worried about, can he catch? I know he can catch. This is Vidal's stat line from college. So the bottom of each of these groupings, rushing and receiving, you can see he had 201 yards and a touch on 18 receptions at the very, very bottom. And then in that rushing column up above, or that rushing group, you can see the 2023 row. He had 1661, 5.6 a carry, 14 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns a year prior. So Vidal comes in with a lot of upside, and he needs to be on the midseason monster list because, and so does Kendre Miller. We're definitely crowding up this list here for sure. Let's put Vidal on here. Love this kid. And the fact that he's got J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards in front of him, it's like it almost feels like a lock that he's going to be getting run. So Vidal, let's put him here. Boom, midseason monster. There you go, doing it live. Now you know. Kendre's got to be put on here. I'll get Kendre on here while I'm taking phone calls and such to try and make sure he's listed before the show ends so I don't forget, because I don't want to forget put him on here. As far as everybody else on this list, Corley, Bowers, Hollywood. Hollywood's almost a guy that doesn't fit anymore. We didn't know where to put him because I didn't want to take a Moon Man spot up with him. And when the whole Rashee Rice stuff was going down, we had the thought process of like, he still kind of fits, I guess, because if, let's say, he gets suspended later in the year or something, it's tough to know. It's not like everything's going to for sure get postponed all season long. This thing could get unraveled. It could get unraveled like mid-season. So that's why Hollywood's kind of on the mid-season monster list. But, it's getting crowded. Penix Jr. is on this list. We have him on the Moon Man list as well. I just think he deserves to be on both. Sinnott, we think, is going to be a monster at some point. He's on the mid-season monster and he's on the Moon Man list. So I don't know if maybe we just take him off because he doesn't need to be a duplicate if he's on let me see, make sure he's on the Moon Man list. Let's click on that.
The Moon Man.
Yeah, Sinnott's on there. So that gives us one open spot. Bowers is also on
the Moon Man. Dropping loads.
Is Bowers on the Mars Man list?
He's on a shuttle to Mars.
No, he's staying on the
midseason
monster list. That's why. Okay, so Bowers, Spears, Vidal, Odunze. Odunze on this because he's got a crowded receiver room that could probably open up. Yeah, this looks pretty good. I feel pretty good about this midseason monster list. Baker's a midseason monster and a Moon Man. Maybe we don't need him on both as much as I want. We got to open up spots. We can't just crowd this thing up. So let's go ahead and remove him because he is on the Moon Man list, right? Let's go over there and check.
The Moon Man.
Yeah, Baker.
loads and outer
So I feel
space.
better about the midseason monsters now that we've cleaned it up a little bit. So that's a lot thinned out. That's thinned out good. Okay. So Kendra Miller I'll put on. What's up, Josh from Cali? You're live. What can I do for you? Hello?
You're on mute, brah.
You're on mute, Josh. Hello? Josh? Please hold for Smitty. Josh, you're still on mute. We can't hear you. Call back. Let's go back over here. Put Kendra Miller on this list. Great schedule, Kendra. Kendra, do it at live by midseason. Let's put him on here. I really like this kid. We liked him a lot coming out of college, too. So this is not some like, oh, well, there's opportunities there, so we like him. No, we like him for a lot of other reasons. So Kendra to the moon mid-season potentially. And the mid-season monster list is just that. It is a list of players that could be playing at a moon man caliber by mid-season. So Kendra Miller could be moon man-esque by mid-season. There you go. There you go. Now it's all on there. Mid-season monster list has been cleaned up. Kendra's on it. Spears is on it. And Vidal is on it. Feels pretty good. Feels damn good. Please hold for Smitty. Hello? Josh? He hung up. Oh, man. Josh, try calling in again. Here, let's try it again. Please hold for Smitty. Please state your name.
Josh.
Please state your topic.
Hey, Vidal or Benson?
Vidal or who?
Vidal or Benson? Your boy Benson. Who you like more?
Oh, Benson. It sounded like you're saying something else. Benson.
Your boy Benson.
Benson.
Yeah.
Benson, bro. Benson.
By a mile?
I mean, you never know, but I like both of them. There's obviously upside with Vidal, but he's also a few stone throws away. But Benson to me is a top 6 to 10 running back in the National Football League. Not just he could be a nice little 2024, nugget. Yeah. Like this is 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028 maybe top 10, 12 running backs. Yeah. Benson to the moon.
Oh yeah. Hey, Smitty, I got a quick one for you. I made some moves in my dynasty, right? One quarterback, single quarterback. I got the 103. Okay. Obviously, Harris is going to be gone. The guy for sure is going to take Neighbors. I am in desperate need of a tight end, and it's a quarter point extra tight end premium, just a quarter point. Am I just for sure dunking and taking my boy Brock Bowers? And I'm a huge Raider fan. I don't know if I'm overthinking this or for sure Bowers, right?
Who's your? It's a 1 QB.
1 QB. And my best tight end is Tucker Kraft. Like my tight ends suck.
Well, I love Sinnott, bro. I love Sinnott. I like
Sinnott later on.
I mean, I don't know. Sinnott could be the Laporta, and Bowers could be the Kincaid. Bowers could be the King. So it's kind of like I don't know. I love Bowers, but Sinnott's in the better spot. He's got amazing rapport with JD5 already. They're in rookie camp together, building that Tank Dell and Stroud rapport. So I'm kind of tempted to say put your balls on the table, and grab one of the other players. I'd almost say like can you trade the 3? Can you trade the 3 for like does somebody have the 5 and 6 or 6 and 7 and you could get both Bowers and Benson or something?
Benson at the 3?
No.
Let's say I can't trade the 3. I know. Let's just say I can't trade the 3. Who's your 3? Tuesday?
Probably a Dunze.
Damn. All right. Well, one more, brother. Quick one. Who's gonna lead the Bears this year in receiving yards and touchdowns? Who's the one?
Probably Adunze and DJ Moore is going to be very close, bro. I think DJ Moore is going to have a slight advantage because he's a veteran, but you got Caleb has no rapport with either one yet, so it's like he loves Adunze. You know, like kind of feels like the Tank Del Stroud, like, hey, draft him. I was on a plane with him. I love this guy. So I don't know. I would probably say Adunze at the end of the day. DJ Moore, I wonder about that relationship because it's been kind of weird. It's been very weird.
The same thing. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I heard the same thing. Like, they don't like each other or something. He's too masculine. He doesn't like, the metrosexual quarterbacks. I get it. I understand.
It's more so he hasn't, like, whenever he talks about his wide receiver room, I'm not saying he hasn't in other interviews brought up DJ Moore, but, like, in the ones I've seen, he's like, yeah, we've got Swift, we've got Cole Kmet, we've got Keenan Allen, and we got Rome Odunze. We're going to be on fire this year on offense. And it's like, what about DJ Moore? Like, it's like you're leaving him out when you. So I don't really know. We'll have to see. It could be completely fabricated. It could be he misspoke and everybody's making something out of nothing. But it is kind of odd. And there's also a lot of rumors surrounding that he was very vocal about wanting them not to draft Caleb and to keep Fields. But some of that was just his loyalty to Fields. So I don't know if that would offend Caleb if he was just, hey, you loved your you didn't want your boy to leave. I get it, but I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I do feel like Adunze at the end of the day probably has the better chance of because there's no rapport built with anyone of establishing the best rapport. So I guess that would be my answer. That's why Adunze is a midseason monster though, because he's not gonna maybe fire off on all cylinders at the beginning of the year, but we'll have to see. All right, bro.
Right on. Hey, hey, real quick, you've done a lot of best balls, right? I mean, I know you've done a lot of drafts.
Yes.
Who's a guy, like, for me, I'm taking Zamir White every time I see him. Like, his ADP's only dropped more and more, so I'm happy I got him in every round. Who's a guy that you have, and you're hitting the, you're slamming the draft button every time you get him?
Benson.
Who's the guy that comes to mind?
Benson, Hurts, Mahomes, Kyron. Like, those are guys I'm hitting a lot.
Yeah.
All right, bro.
Oh, yeah.
All right, later.
Appreciate it.
Bob from Cali. Hello.
Every time you do that, it reminds me of Big Bird. What are your thoughts on Keon Coleman? Can he possibly end up being a guy that we should have taken in probably the third or second round? I know his speed wasn't really that great. He had some competition at Florida. Everybody basically had their knee just fall right, but fall underneath them and or broken on the spot. But his acceleration, as you've covered before, was probably the quickest out of any of the wide receivers there. And he just looks like a guy that, not really a Jerry Jeudy type of guy who turns it on afterwards, but is always on. And it just doesn't look that fast, but somehow he catches the ball. And I have a feeling that this dude's going to end up either being the number one or it's going to be the Khalil dude. I'm probably botching his name in Buffalo.
Shakir? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, Shakir.
Would you call him Clear?
Yeah, Clear. I think his last name starts with a K.
Shakir. The Clear dude. He's clear. He's see-through. No, I take I think Keon Coleman has a really, really good opportunity. Number one, when he was drafted, I said from the beginning, like, he reminds me of a guy his personality is amazing, or he's going to become Jameson Winston on the field and in huddles and such, like a distraction, because he's kind of all about, joking around constantly. But it took only a couple more interviews and, watching some stuff on him, watching Josh Allen react to drafting him, that made me say, it definitely is going to go in the positive direction, not the negative. But my initial reaction was like, I like him a lot. I just wonder. To be completely honest, my pre-NFL draft before landing spots analysis was that he wasn't, my favorite top 3 wide receiver, or 4. He wasn't even number 4 for me. And I questioned his speed a little bit. But in the combine, thank God they do the miles per hour data, break down the splits, do the gauntlet speed, and figure out who's actually accelerating. And, like, as you mentioned, He was not one of the fastest. He was the fastest wide receiver on the field during the gauntlet drills. So that's an amazing stat to bring to the table when you have him running a very disappointing 40 time, because now I don't care about the 40 time. His bad 40 time now means 0 to everybody, because you just told us that on the game speed, he's the fastest wide receiver out of all the combine wide receivers. That is absolutely amazing. So he came out of the combine with a great look. The best landing spot, the two best landing spots by a country mile in the NFL draft. Not Chicago, not anywhere else, but Arizona and Buffalo. Those are the two very best landing spots, and it's not even close. And you can make debates out of what spot's better. And what do we say? Situation's king. And situation could turn a very good wide receiver into a great wide receiver. Situation can turn an elite wide receiver down into a just good to great wide receiver, like in the case of Neighbors. I'm not saying that's permanent, but for his rookie year, an elite wide receiver has now become maybe just a good wide receiver. And it sucks because situation is king, or it can bring you down. Keon Coleman was handed the best or the second best receiving spot in the NFL. And he also had his quarterback say things he didn't need to say. He could have said something just positive, but he said, even if he's stretching it a little bit, he did not need to say this. He said, you were the one wide receiver I wanted. And that is amazing. And and Keon Coleman's been so motivated. He's working hard as can be right now. And yeah, he's a funny personality and he does joke a lot, but it's very likable. I think Buffalo is going to love him, and I'm real excited about what Keon Coleman can become in Buffalo. I would say that he becomes a top 15 wide receiver. So I don't want to get ahead of myself and say things crazier than that, even though he's capable of it. We certainly could get more hyped as we move through the offseason. We see him doing stuff, but will he be that his rookie year? That's a real tall order. But I just think he's capable of being a top 15 wide receiver in the National Football League, which when you think about it, that's not a wide receiver 1, but it's a high-end wide receiver 2 in fantasy. Is he capable of being bookend, 12, 13 wide receiver material, or being ranked around the top 12, top 13? Yeah. But I'm going to say 15 to be safe, and that's long term, not year one. Anything else, Bob?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Calvin Ridley, and JSN? I know JSN, he didn't have any yards, and Tony dude's there. I'm really bad with the names, but he had 6. I think he had 4 or 6 TDs off of only 600 yards, and Calvin Ridley coming in, having another 1,000-yard season, and it's not like he has any competition down there. He has the one kid out of Georgia, I think Treylon Burks, who just seems to be hurt every year. So I don't know. I feel like people are sleeping on Calvin Ridley this year, big time. I know people took him at the 2-3 turn last year, or the 3-4 turn last year, and now he's going on the 6, the 7, which is mind-boggling to me. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Calvin Ridley?
I'm indifferent on Calvin. I'm indifferent on him because he is going to a kind of quietly good situation, but he also has Hopkins and Burks and Spears, who's a big receiving piece of that offense. That's a lot of mouths to feed for Levis, who I don't know what he is yet. Now, there's that factor of not knowing what he is. That could be a good thing. He could be really good. But I don't know. I've drafted him. I certainly wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket. I certainly wouldn't even have more than an 8% or 10%, maybe less, 5% saturation of Ridley in my best ball drafts. I don't want to have overexposure on him at all. It's not like Keon Coleman, the guy we just talked about. I could have a 20%, 30% exposure of him because he's so late. Vidal, I could have an 80% exposure because he's literally free. Isaac Guerendo, who I said yesterday we'd talk about him on the show today. He's a midseason monster. I could have 100% exposure to Grendo because he gives you that difference maker, could win the league if he gets into the lineup or something. Who knows if he even becomes the backup in San Francisco, but if he does, Grendo could explode and win you a best ball mania league because he starts the last 5 games of the year and he gets San Francisco running back production. So those guys I don't mind having 100% exposure on, but a guy like Ridley, it's like 5%. You know, I admit, I was one of the driving forces behind him having that high value last year, and he really did disappoint. But at the end of the day, he did come away with pretty decent numbers when you looked at it. Like Travis was on the phone line one time talking about it. We looked it up, and he was telling me like he had pretty good numbers, and it didn't feel like he had as good of numbers as he did. It was kind of shocking at the end of the day when you looked at how he ranked. But, I mean, I don't know. I think that did his situation get better or worse? He's playing. I know Hopkins may, fall off a little bit. He may not. It may take Hopkins another year to fall off. Is his situation better? These were good numbers. Like, I almost don't even feel bad that we pumped up Calvin Ridley a lot. Like, because I almost say that as if I failed on the Calvin Ridley predictions last year. I'm not saying we didn't take him like too high. We certainly took him a little bit too high. But when you see what Calvin Ridley ended up with last year, 76 receptions, 10, 16, and 8, actually not bad. That's actually pretty decent numbers right there. But I don't even know that he may or may not duplicate these in Tennessee, but I would say that I'm just indifferent. I'm not avoiding him, but I find myself not owning him a lot. That's my final answer.
I appreciate it. Hey man, and if you come out with one of those like the Venus cards, I'll be first in line. First in line.
They'll go quick, so I'll do my best. All right, later. Appreciate you. Iceman. Last phone caller. Iceman, what can I do for you?
What's up, Smitty?
What's up?
Hey, so I need your advice on Dynasty rookie draft. Would you rather have the 3rd and 10th pick in the first round or the 5th and 7th?
You're like trading for these?
I have the 3rd and the 10th, and I'm wondering if I should trade to 5 and 7 so I could get Brooks and maybe
rookie.
Coleman.
Okay, so this is a rookie.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right,
you want to know if I like 3 and 10, or what was the other option?
Or 5 and 7.
5 and 6.
What I want in the first round is a good receiver and a good running back, and I'm afraid that if I wait till the 10th to get a running back, that Benson and Brooks won't be there.
So
I don't think Brooks will. Benson maybe, but I don't know if I want to take that chance.
Okay, so we're talking about maybe a Brian Thomas Jr., like a BT and Benson, or a Dunze.
Yeah.
Because the Dunze is probably the guy, right? You're going to be able to get there. A Dunze and I don't know, bro. I really think you're going to be surprised that, you're going to get one of those RBs there. But you know your league better than I do, bro. I can't
see. I definitely think Brooks is gone by like 6 or 7. Benson it's a toss-up. And I mean, I don't know if I think that'd be too early to take like Corum or one of the other running backs. I mean, it's really just Benson and Brooks for me that I want out of the rookie class.
Yeah, I think if I look at drafts, man, can everybody please tell me where Jonathan Brooks and Benson went in your recent rookie drafts? If people could drop the draft and say Benson, 1.9, Brooks 1.5, or whatever it is, please drop what you've seen in your drafts. And if I look at 2 of my drafts right now, bro, these are 2 drafts that just happened. And not to mention that these are the Fantasy Football Show community drafts, right? Or actually, I can't even load the drafts. I want to say Benson went at 10 or
Okay.
11. I want to say Brooks may have gone slightly ahead of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I-
And like you said, it depends on my league, and I know that. See, my brother is like a huge Florida State fan, and he has the 9. But if Coleman falls to him at 9, I guarantee he's going to take 9. Then I could take Benson. But, you know, they both have to be available. Because if Coleman goes before 9, he's going to take Benson at 9.
What if you gave your second rounder just to move up 1 or 2 spots? So go from 10 in a second to get to 8.
10 seconds to get to 8.
Here's what everybody's saying, just to give you an idea. Brooks 1.6, Benson 2.1. Brooks 7,
Oh, wow.
Benson 10, Benson 8. I took Brooks at 1.6 and Benson went 1.8. Brooks 2.5. You'll get at least one of those two at 5. Well, we're not worried about 5. We know that, Hazelnut. We're trying to see if you can do this without trading the 3. If it was me, bro, I'd try and move that 10 up to 8. I'd give up this year's second rounder and next year's second rounder with ease to move this up 2 or 3 spots just to secure it, and almost even on the clock. But sometimes on the clock people don't trade. Sometimes on the clock people do trade. It just kind of depends.
I think we're on the clock. I think we're doing that. I wanted, obviously, Marvin Harrison and Neighbors are going to go first, the first 2 off the board, and I don't need a quarterback, so and I do want Odunze. I mean, he might not produce right away, but I still want him. So I guess it's, even if Benson does fall to me at 10, if I don't get to 8, would you rather Odunze and Benson, or like Brooks and BTJ, or Brooks and Coleman?
Who are your receivers?
They're pretty old. I have Debo, Devontae Adams, and Christian Watson.
Your running backs?
I got Najee, Mostert, and Aaron Jones, and Ty Chandler.
Who are your quarterbacks and tight ends? And it's 1 QB?
Yeah, 1 QB. I got Lamar as my QB. I have Kincaid, and I also have Hawkinson.
Oh, man, I'd almost try. Can you trade like Hawkinson in a second rounder, or Hawkinson and 2 second rounders, and like try and get somebody's like 9 or 8 pick, your brother's pick? I don't know. That's tough, man.
I mean, I could definitely consolidate. I also have like Fryermuth and Johnny Smith on my bench as well. I definitely could consolidate my tight ends.
If Najee gets his extension, his value will go up a little bit. I wonder if you could trade that for Benson or Jonathan Brooks, the pick to get him. I don't know. That's tough. Yeah. I know some people like Najee a lot this year, but I would be worried about his long-term value.
Right.
I think the extension's going to give him some value, though. So you might be in pretty good shape to trade him. All right, bro. Call back, Iceman. When's your draft? We have time to talk about this, or is it tomorrow or something?
Oh, no. We got plenty of time.
Okay. Let's kick it around later.
Okay.
All right, later. That's tough. Kind of hurting at running back and wide receiver. It's me. How do you rank Spear? Oh, that's old. Thank you for that super chat, pal. All right. Anybody drop any gifted memberships? Anybody drop any? Coble dropped 5 gifted memberships. Coble, you still here? I'm sorry I didn't see that. I gotta fix my alert system as it relates to those, so I can see I want these to pop up on screen. So I'm gonna figure out how to get that incorporated again. Because I gotta use something different. It's just not working anymore. Coble dropping 5 gifted memberships. Absolute monster. Thank you, Coble, for doing that. Coble to the freaking moon. Coble to the moon. Send him.
To the moon.
Coble, thank you. And then for the celebratory messages, I already got A-Train and Romario. And then Andrew dropped one just now saying, oh no. I just accidentally grabbed that one. Okay. Appreciate you all. I'll be back tonight to draft on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Here's the link. I'm going to drop the link in the live chat. And make sure you hit this link and sign up, because you will not get in if you aren't clicking this now and signing up, and you're going to be scrambling. That link will get you 50% match on your first deposit, all the way up to $250. So you deposit $500, they give you $250. You deposit the minimum of $10, they'll give you $5, and you'll have $15, and you can do, you know, $3-5 drafts by just dropping one time $10. I can promise you're going to want to do more than that. It's so fun on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Do it live. See you all tonight.
Hey Chan. Hey Chan is the man. His haters call him small,
but he is 9 feet tall.
Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Did I delete it?
Hey Chan.
Oh. I hit the wrong key, and it deleted it for a second.
Is the man.
But I got it back.
His haters call him small,
but he is 9 feet tall.
Meatloaf prices go up across the country. Truck of spinach missing. Spinach prices skyrocketing across the country.
Hey Chan is the man.
And then we had a super chat here by DeBalt dropping a 20 watt on screen. DeBalt says, hit the go to Brees drop. You know, first of all,
alert, super chat alert.
Thank you for that $20 hauler, DeBalt, first and foremost. So appreciate you. And by request, first I'm gonna have you get Brees, then I'm gonna hit the Bijan, then we'll hit the outro.
Brees Hall is 8 foot tall. He will always answer the mother freaking call. Don't let him fall. In the third, don't stall. Just give Batman the freaking football.
Remember when he was going in the
He's
15
Brees.
to 20?
He's Brees.
15 to 20.
He does a hell of a job. A hell of a job. A hell of a job.
Brees Hall, please report to the moon. Get Brees.
All right, see you all tonight. 8 p.m. Eastern every single Monday through Friday, live when big news breaks, and then live graveyard streams most midnights, I should say. So Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, live when big news breaks, and midnight, most nights Eastern time, which will be tonight. See you all then. Thank you, Beard. Thank you, Space Ricky. Thank you, Travis. Thank you to any of my mods. Blackbeard in the house. Space Ricky. Sick Nasty, if he's in here. The Balt, appreciate you. Travis. Travis to the moon. There's Travis. I knew Travis was lingering. Drop some eggplants for Travis's kneecap. He broke his kneecap. Drop some eggplant emojis. Someone drop some spinach. Random Prankster says, what the F? To what, Prankster? What's surprising you right now? Please share. Later. Deuces. Or as Caleb says, the Bears. The Bears. The little bitty Bears.